Hey, it's your girl Michaela Pink, and I am back with another video. Today we're going to talk about why people ask this crazy question: when are you going to get married? A lot of people responded to this on a poll that I took on my Instagram this past week, and so I wanted to make a video about it to see maybe if I can gain some insight on why people ask the question, when are you going to get married? It seems like a lot of times people don't ask this question of men, they always ask this question of women. So it's really frustrating to a lot of ladies who are in their 30s and in their 40s, and they said this is one of the top things that they hate when people ask them. So we're going to talk about that today. Okay, so not only did I take a poll on Instagram, I took a poll with my friends in real life. And I asked the question, have you ever asked a woman, why isn't she married? Have you ever approached somebody and said something like this? And a lot of them said yes. And I was surprised by that, because normally things are just kind of left unsaid. But this is a question that people actually feel okay to ask someone else. So these are going to be the top answers that I received. Okay, so the first one is going to be that they know certain things about women that are just factual. And those things are that most women want to be married by a certain age. They know that little girls are raised to play with dolls, they're raised to be mommies, and we are kind of conditioned as a, I don't know if this is a societal norm, but we are conditioned to want certain things as women. So since they know that we raise our girls to be a certain way, then it begs to question, okay, were you not raised this way? Was there someone in your life who didn't really foster that nurturing side of you as a woman? So since they know that we raise our girls this way, it's kind of different when you see a woman who has not ascribed to this social norm that we have come up with. So that was one of the answers that I received, is that some things about women are just factual, and it's that we are raised a certain way. Second reason is because men are raised differently than women. So this is why we don't ask women this question. Once a man gets into his 30s and 40s, he's asked questions like, well, what do you do for a living? Well, what are your plans for the future? You know, but he's not asked questions like, well, when are you gonna get married? Sometimes men are asked this question, but it's not with the pressure, the same amount of pressure that women receive when asked this question. So I think that men may be asked this question, but it's not with the same sort of guilt that is attached when women are asked, and it's also not with the same sort of pressure. So yes, men are asked this question as well. Who knew? Okay, so this one's gonna be a toughie, but I've said it on my channel before. A lot of women make the mistake of believing that they're gonna be pretty forever. A lot of people put an expiration date on the pretty, right? So after a certain age, women are not considered pretty anymore. And it kind of, I mean, across the board, it's kind of true. It's kind of true, because there are not a lot of people who are seeking old women. Now, there are tons, as you've seen on my channel, tons and tons and tons of women who seek older men, because they'll say things like, well, older men are more established, they want to take care of you. And there's, of course, a market for that. But a lot of women will seek older men, but a lot of men, most men, a majority of men do not seek older women. So if they see you as getting older, if they see that the pretty may be waning a little bit, they're gonna ask this question, because they're like, okay, sis, you know, we see that the pretty may be kind of dwindling down. Maybe there's a slight drip for the pretty. Maybe the pretty is kind of trickling down a little bit. Why aren't you getting yourself out there and utilizing the pretty, making the best of the pretty, when we see that it's kind of dwindling down? Now, again, I will say, this is not my personal feelings. This was an answer that I got in a poll. Please don't come for me in the comments. I don't know. This is just what was said to me. I'm just the messenger. One of the really good ones that was given to me by one of my daddies, surprisingly, was people ask this of women who are extremely beautiful. If you've ever heard this, put it in the comments. If you've ever heard someone say, you're such a beautiful woman, why aren't you married? I heard this so much before I got married, I wanted to scream. If you've ever been asked this, you know that it is the most annoying thing ever. But this is why people ask it. Because the most beautiful women are going to be highly sought after. They know people are pursuing you. They know that you are a woman who should be sought after. So if there's so many men who are after you, why haven't you just given into that? So it could be one of two things. It could be that you maybe think you're too good for certain men. Maybe you're not allowing yourself to be dated. Maybe you're weird or crazy. Maybe you have zero social skills. This is a way for a man, especially if men ask you this, this is a way for a man to see just how crazy you are. Instead of just coming out and saying, hey, are you crazy? Do you have a mental disorder? Do you have some sort of trauma that you're still holding on to? Are you a man hater? Instead of asking you these questions, they will say, what is a beautiful lady like you doing not being married, right? Because your answer to this question is going to give him the answer to the crazy question. And he won't seem like a butthole, or he won't seem like, you know, he's trying to be mean to you. So he's doing this in a roundabout way to get an answer to his question. So in order to get married, which that's gonna be our next video, how do I get him to marry me? That's gonna be a juicy one, stay tuned for that. But in order to get him to marry you, you have to be able to compromise. People know that if you are 30 or 40 or 50 years old and you have not been married and you are not married, that means you may not be able to compromise. Maybe you don't put up with a whole lot of BS. And this is a good thing, but eventually you're gonna have to put up with something, because no one is perfect, especially men, as we all know. No man is perfect. And so if you're not willing to kind of bend a little bit, if you're not willing to stop running after you've been chased so long, then maybe there's something there. Maybe there's something to that. Let me add my own little thoughts and opinions to this. When someone asks you, why aren't you married? This is not a compliment. It's not, because it's basically them saying, hey, marriage is the pinnacle of success and you don't have this. Why not? You know, it's basically people telling you, though you may have a really super duper good career, though you may have everything seemingly going on for you, you don't have a man. So would I take this as a compliment? No, as most women don't. It's a way to kind of, in a nice, nasty way, ask you, so what the heck is wrong with you? You know? And so here's my advice. What would I say to someone who asks me, why aren't you married? I think you can answer the question as graciously as possible. If you want to match the nice, nasty as I would do, I would also do that, because at the end of every day, this is your life. If you've made a conscious decision not to put up with BS, not to compromise, to continue being you and making people accept you for whatever the you-ness of you is, then continue to do that, because you have to live with your choices And that's the only person that has to live with your choices. So what would I do? I would continue to do me. If you are in a relationship and you want to be married, then make steps towards that. If you don't even have a relationship, if you're not dating and that makes you happy, continue to do that. But that's all you really can do. You can't take the opinions of other people and internalize them and be like, oh my God, I'm getting so old. You don't want to do that, because that's where depression comes in. That's where ladies have low self-esteem. And that's where you're not able to really fully enjoy your life, because you're too busy worrying about the opinions of other people. And if you want to hear more about my thoughts on ladies who are older and the dating games that people play, take a look at these two videos. I think these are going to be very helpful, and it gives you a little bit more insight on my thoughts on marriage and getting old. I hope you guys have a great day, a great week, a great life. I'm Michaela Pink, and that's what I think. Bye.